It is November 2nd. This is Legit Betting Edge podcast, episode number 8. I'm Brian Benito with my partner, Scott Johnson. Scott, it's Monday. What's happening, man?
It's election eve, so preparing for what's going to happen, the craziness. Hopefully everything's overblown and we just move on and do everything that we normally do. But we're recovering from a weekend that was interesting, to say the least. So can't wait to talk about that. And we got Monday Night Football tonight, and another week of working and looking what we got coming ahead. Yeah. So it's Monday, and I saw you just drink a swig there, so we might as well go a little Monday morning coffee. So what were your thoughts weekend? What'd you think?
Well, sounds good. Real quick, let's do some shout outs for our social media. You can find me at @my_bankroll on Twitter. I have other ones, but let's just concentrate on Twitter right now. Scott, where are they going to find you?
You can find me Twitter at ScojoAZ Sports, Instagram Scojo Picks. Website is going to be scojopicks.com. Our YouTube channel is up, Legit Betting Edge Podcast. So YouTube, go there, subscribe. Yes. We're going to keep putting content out there. So, we want to grow. We want to get bigger. We love doing this. We love talking shop and talking sports. So do what you can to help us out and follow us. And if you have any questions, shoot us DMs, talk to us, tell us what you want to hear, what you want to see, and we'll try to do it.
We're going to build it, and we're going to bring some people on live with us in the near future. Okay, let's get back to the weekend review. Look, crazy weekend for me. Lost a little bit of money when it comes to the bets I placed. My plays of the day on Saturday and Sunday both went kaput. Talk about college football, though. Those lines, did you see it? A lot of line movement. I mean, those lines, 1 minute, they're one thing. The next minute, let's just take the Temple line. It's not a marquee game, but it's opened at 3.5. It's up at 7 by game time. Till Tulane blows up Temple. They beat them. And sharp money big on that, and public money big on that. They beat the books on that. But a lot of line movement. Georgia moved up, couldn't cover. Ole Miss line goes up. They blow out Vanderbilt. I had Missouri. That Florida line goes up. Just a lot of line movement. And then Ohio State line goes from 13 to 10. Real nutty stuff on Saturday.
Yeah, I was actually sending out a lot of tweets, a lot of DMs, I'm like, what's going on with the line movement? I mean, every once in a while you see a game that'll move, but I've never seen multiple games, big games too. Like you said, Ohio State moved down to 10.5, 10 in some spots. It was at 13. I mean, that game landed on 13, but yeah, it was just crazy. I mean, and just the play itself. I mean, there's a game. I watch a lot of shows. I read a lot of articles. Almost every handicapper that I saw this weekend was on Georgia State. They were talking about how Coastal Carolina was overrated. They're number 20. This is just a crazy year. Everybody's falling in love with them. Everybody was on Georgia State. Sprinkle the money line. Georgia State's going to win this game. They're the better team. Coastal Carolina. I mean, that's all I heard. I did not touch the game. I did not bet on the game. But I don't know if you saw the final score. Coastal Carolina was like 52-0.
Yes, blowout.
I'm like, I'm like, how I don't know how everybody gets it that wrong. And I'm talking about, big names, people that know what they're doing. Just crazy. I mean, I think all of us should just stop doing what we're doing. Follow Vegas Dave. He gets them all right. He had Michigan money line. I mean,
Michigan State money line. Yeah. I got fooled by Michigan myself. I thought Michigan was going to play a good game. Obviously, Harbaugh should leave Michigan right now, exit, and not coach for them anymore, because he just can't. He can't get it right. He can't even get 2 games in a row that are strong and dominant. So, but yeah, I got fooled by a lot of lines. And then on Sunday, moving to Sunday, and we'll just talk about being fooled here in a second. But moving to Sunday, I had the Vikings against Packers that we talked about that on the show. My play of the day was the Saints. This is the second week in a row. We saw Seattle have a penalty on 4th down against the Cardinals. That ruined their chance of not only winning but covering last week. This week, the Bears are losing by 10. And it's 3rd and 12 for the Bears, and their pass interference call on the Saints, and then this game goes in overtime, and the cover's gone. So very slim margins in the NFL. Penalty. Seen that 2 weeks in a row on games that I was actually on. My clients were on, and it's just a bad break. Are those bad beats? Man, a PI. I didn't see the play, so I don't know if there was legit PI. But bottom line is, they convert that, they go and score a touchdown. Otherwise, they shoot for a field goal, and then they try the onside kick or whatever they do, and they got to make a touchdown. So, and I feel I like my chances in that sense. But they go to overtime. The Saints aren't what they were. The Saints are barely winning these games. Yeah, it's the old saying: good teams win, great teams cover. Right now, you're looking at about 4 or 5 teams that have a chance to win the Cup. Pittsburgh looking very, very strong. I think they exposed Lamar Jackson. Did they not?
Yeah, no. Lamar Jackson is. I think the wear is wearing off of him. He's he is what he is. I mean, he's a great athlete. He can run. He can he can make some plays, but in tight games, he is not a quarterback that can bring you back. He just cannot. I mean, unless he can get loose and run, his arm talent just isn't there. Not that that he's not a serviceable quarterback, and he won the MVP. So I mean, obviously, but I think defenses are catching up. They know what to do to stop him, especially Pittsburgh. In that New Orleans game, I had the under there. I jumped on that early in the week, had it at 47. Goes into overtime and beats me there. I think with the weather and everything, it was at like 41.5. So the over, if you bet the day of, the over covered pretty easy there. But yeah, and another thing in that Bears game, I want to find out what happened with number 83 there. I don't know what made him lose his mind. I don't know if you saw that play.
I did. I saw that. I saw that clip.
Yeah, I mean, out of nowhere. I mean, they showed a clip where that number 22 was putting his finger in someone's face, but I don't know if that's what blew. I mean, he just lost his mind. I can't imagine that guy's not going to get like 2 or 3 games. I mean, he's got to get a big penalty there. So that was crazy in that game. And then just, Minnesota, that was going to be a tough cover for Green Bay, but man, Dalvin Cook just shredded them. Tennessee goes into Cincinnati and looks terrible. The Rams just got out coached. I mean, Tua didn't do a lot in that game. Tua had nothing to do with that game. The Rams just got out coached and out, maneuvered there. And Jared Goff he cannot do anything unless the script goes exactly how it's supposed to go. Right, he can't read anything. He can't do anything. He is just, if it's going good, it's going good. And if it's not going good, he's toast. So, I mean, Miami, the NFC West is a good division, and Miami went to San Francisco and just destroyed San Francisco. And now the Rams come in and they pretty much destroyed the Rams. So this Miami team, man, that's making that quarterback change even more questionable to me.
Suspicious, right?
I don't know why they're doing. I mean, like I said, Tua, he didn't really have to do anything in that game, but Cincinnati beats Tennessee. That's another crazy game. I mean, the Colts, Colts, I think are better than I think they are. I keep, I have Phillip Rivers on my mind every time I look at the Colts, but they're a better team than I think they are. So yeah, I mean, every week you're learning, and I had an okay day Sunday, but college football, I'm telling you right now, I don't know that I'm going to place another bet before a game. 2 weeks in a row, I've had games that I've loved, absolutely loved, and just been destroyed. I had Pitt and Notre Dame. I thought Pitt might even win that game. They just got clobbered. And then K-State, I thought K-State might win that game. They got clobbered. So I'm not reading college football really well. And if it wasn't for live betting on Saturday, I might be standing on the street holding the sign right now. So it was pretty bad for me on Saturday. Sunday, I recovered a little bit, bounced back, but it's moving on. But
and to add to your point, look, for me, it came down to one thing: greed. So I saw a lot of games. And I was like, you know what? Let me just play this, and this. And so the games I released obviously lose, but the games that that I played, that I gave to my players, they lost juice, they lost a unit, but it's you just think you see too much and you really don't. And that goes back to me pulling off. This week, I'll look at things a little bit longer. I liked Oklahoma late. I didn't play them. I saw that game properly, and I just didn't pull the trigger on Oklahoma, and they're blowing out Texas Tech. Just kind of, after games tip off, you're like, wait, well, how did I miss that? How did I, because you've been looking at, I spend 30 or 40 hours a week just looking at numbers. And,
right.
And so it is difficult. Now, Sunday, again, dog day afternoon, we talked about the Steelers on the podcast. We talked about the Vikings on the podcast. We talked about, Tennessee, can they really cover a 6 or 7 point spread? I didn't think they could. The Bengals obviously hanging games over and over. So, these are things that are all good. We knew Eagles were going to destroy the Cowboys. Cowboys aren't ready to win a game. Yeah, Eagles covered that ugly, but who cares? They were going to cover it anyway. It doesn't matter what that line was. They were going to cover it. So we move on, and then we got to talk about tonight. We got Tampa and the Bucs, and as a matter of fact, there's a lot of chatter on the internet and on SportsCenter about the New England Patriots. Just the dynasty's over. Bill Belichick has lost the battle. Tom Brady has proved that he is far superior than a great coach as a great quarterback and probably the best player ever in the National Football League. Your thoughts on that?
I think Tom Brady is a great quarterback. I mean, you don't go to 9 Super Bowls and win 6 championships without, having talent. So, and the thing that's even impressing me more I was always on the side of Tom and Belichick together. That was the chemistry. Without one or the other, I don't think either one of them would have been any good. But Tom is surrounded by talent in Tampa Bay. Now, if they can get everybody healthy, I don't know. I don't see anybody beating this team. I mean, that defense he has is phenomenal. Probably the best defense in the NFL right now. And then he's surrounded. Now he's got Antonio Brown, Fournette, and Fournette and Jones in the back, where they're leading the league in rushing yards per game right now. And then if Evans and Godwin can get healthy, and Gronk is getting his legs. I mean, this team is just loaded. So, and he's just the captain of this team. So yeah, I think Tom. I got to give him more credit than I've given him over his career, because I thought for sure he was a system quarterback. I said on numerous occasions that if he had gone anywhere else in the NFL, he would have been a backup at best and probably in the league 2 or 3 years and gone. So, I'm going to take that back. I was wrong. He is definitely, a good quarterback. He sees the field well. And I just, and that's leading me into this Monday night game. And for me, the other thing that Tom Brady is, because he's such a good athlete, like Michael Jordan, what made him great was he is always holding grudges, and he never let him go. Even at his Hall of Fame speech, he never let him go. And I think Tom Brady holds grudges, and that's against this team they're playing tonight, and that's the Giants. The Giants cost him 2 rings, 2 tough losses in the Super Bowl, and I don't think Tom's going to have any mercy on this team tonight. So, I mean, my handicap tonight is Tampa. I think they're just going to crush New York. I mean, I was looking at some of the numbers.
How do you do it? How the fuck do you do it?
Exactly. I know. That's I couldn't help that.
That was hilarious, by the way. That was insane when you shot that.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Anyway, continue.
Well, no, I saw him do his Michigan. I follow him on Instagram, and like I said, I'm not going to hate on Vegas Dave. I think that guy is a marketing genius. He knows what he's doing. He makes money. Whether he can pick games or not, I can't vouch for that. But that guy just knows how to live on social media. Then I saw that clip when Michigan State beat Michigan, and I just started laughing. I'm like, what better promotion than you could get is like every one of your players that had a Michigan State money line ticket. I would just tell everybody to post those tickets. No tickets are posted. He didn't pick that game, but he knows how to sell it. But anyway, Tampa, I was looking at some of the just, going over the numbers, points per game. They're 8th in the NFL. Passing yards 9th, rushing yards first, total yards per game 3rd in the NFL, and then the Giants in all those categories: points per game 31st, total yards per game 31st, passing yards 30th, and rushing yards 27th. That Giants defense is, struggles at home for some reason. On the road, they play well. They're 4-3 against the spread. The Giants are. They're 4-0 on the road. They're 0-3 at home. They just can't seem to play at home. But this Tampa Bay team, I mean, they went into Oakland, destroyed Oakland. I know it's a back-to-back road game, but I don't see the Giants having anything for this Tampa Bay team unless something happens injury-wise that is going to stop Tampa Bay from, I've got to play in this game. I've already put that out on Twitter. I'm going to play the first half. 13 points. I always get nervous maybe about a backdoor cover late or something like that. But I don't even think the backdoor is going to be open in this game. I think Tampa Bay is going to destroy him. That's just my opinion on this game.
Yeah, they're playing really well right now. They're scoring a lot of points. And, like you said, Tom Brady's firing on all cylinders. Very efficient right now. Do they cover the 13? I think they do. I don't think the Giants are ready to win a game. I don't think they're ready to come close to winning a game. They played tight against against the Eagles last week, but that was all Daniel Jones. You shut Daniel Jones down, it's over. The Eagles had him boxed in. He doesn't go for that long run. They don't even get the 7 points on that. But he's not getting that same run against Tampa. Tampa's running it up on these guys. And you're right. Tom Brady has a grudge. He holds a grudge. He's lost a couple of Super Bowls against Eli and the Giants. And, he's just going to avenge that tonight. I think they covered the 13. I'm going to lean that way. I'm going to shoot that way. It's almost a balancing thing. It was a dog day afternoon yesterday, morning and afternoon. And you saw the Eagles cover late. You had the Seahawks covered. Only a couple of favorites covered. I know Tampa's on the road 2 in a row. These aren't the Los Angeles Rams, although a second game on the road, and they just can't keep it together. Tampa Bay stays focused. Bruce Arians is dialed in, but they're ready to go. Do they have a bye after this week, Tampa?
I don't know. I haven't looked ahead at the schedule, so I couldn't. I don't know if they're on a bye next week or not. But
I'll look at it going in. But if they're going into a bye, that'd be the only thing to stop me from betting this game. I haven't bet it yet, but I definitely lean Tampa Bay right now.
So let me ask you a question. Why would that stop you from betting it if they're going into a bye? Just curious.
What I would do is just look at the numbers a little harder and see if maybe this line's a little high. Now, I'm leaning again Tampa Bay, but when you go into a bye, when teams generally go into a bye, they're thinking about that bye. And with a cupcake like the New York Giants, Tom Brady's going to unload on them, but maybe some of the defensive guys who would stop, let's say, a backdoor touchdown, they're checked out late in the game because they're going on a vacation or whatever, And so generally, the same thing happened with the Seattle Seahawks. They come out of a bye or they went into bye. They went into bye and they played Minnesota, and they were a little lazy, a little laissez-faire, and they didn't cover. They barely won that game. So, I tend to look at that. I think it is a factor, not to your skill players who are dialed in, but some of the players, on the defense that may or may not stop a backdoor cover on a number as large as this one.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was curious. I heard you say that, so I was like, what's the reasoning behind it? So that's interesting.
Good question. I've seen it a couple of times this year, and that's why I would take a look at it.
Yeah, and then the NFC East is just. I can't believe there's a team that is going to come out of there and get a home playoff game. So I don't know if that's going to cause the NFL to maybe relook at this because right now I think Washington's the best team. I thought Philadelphia was probably the best team in there. And, I watched Carson Wentz is just absolute. That guy holds onto the ball way too long, can't throw the ball away, fumbles, he made Dallas look like the 85 Bears in the first half. I was like, what in the world? And then McCarthy, I was thinking about you last night because McCarthy in the second half, when that game was 9-7, they were running up the gut against that Philadelphia team, just chunk yards, 5 yards, 6 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards. And I don't know why they just didn't do that the whole way down the field and make Philadelphia stop it. They couldn't stop it. And then, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to outsmart them now. And then, turnover, sack, it was just a joke. I'm like, I can't believe this is an NFL game. I kept watching that going, this is, and to your point, I kept saying, if you're betting on this game, you're just throwing money away. How can you bet on this game? But after I heard what you said, absolutely right. Dallas is just a freaking joke right now. That game could have been 30 and, Philadelphia probably covers that game. Philadelphia, I don't think they can score 30 points, so probably not. But this division is just, I keep looking at it going, I keep changing my mind on who I think is going to come out of it. 5 wins. They all play each other. That's where they're getting the wins. And I don't think Cincinnati, you can chalk Cincinnati up as a win. So the only wins they're getting.
Here's what I think's happening over there. Look, Philadelphia's not an efficient team by any stretch. They're starting to get some players back. Some players are out. So they don't have a lot of continuity. Carson Wentz is not great. But they're grinding out wins. So when it comes crunch time, like fourth quarter, they start to pull away from these teams. Now, will they peak later in the season? They will. Philadelphia will peak later in the season because now they have these wins that are like, okay, we can win. We know how to win. We know how to win tight games. We know how to win nasty. And so Philadelphia's going to put it together, and they're going to, in a couple of weeks, they're going to be flying pretty efficiently, and I'll make sure I jump on those games if the line hasn't caught up. But, when I looked at the game, it was just, okay, I know who Dallas is, and Dallas isn't ready to cover. So that automatically green lights Philadelphia in that game. So regardless of what happens, you're right. But Mike McCarthy's going to do Mike McCarthy. He's going to be Mike McCarthy, regardless of what game it is. He's going to hurt a chance to win, a chance to cover, a chance for that team to do anything. And quite honestly, he's just not a good coach. He's not a good decision maker. And, I don't know that he was calling the plays. I don't know that he was running the show, but he's not astute enough to watch it and say, hey, keep running that goddamn ball. What are we doing? You know, Bill
exactly.
Parcells would be like, hey, what are you doing? Run that goddamn ball. That's what he would say to his offensive coordinator.
Right. And, another team that I was looking at is the Chargers. I mean, that's a 2-5 team, and that team has looked great. I mean, they played New Orleans tough. They played at Tampa Bay tough. And then they lose that game. How they lost that game yesterday, I have I had Denver plus 3.5 yesterday. So, I mean, that late touchdown saved me and cashed a ticket. But I don't know, man. I think Lynn might be in trouble because they've got a quarterback. That dude can sling it. He's a good quarterback. He's going to be a good quarterback for years to come. But they just right now they can't figure out how to win games. I mean, they struggled against Jacksonville. They should have covered that game easy again. I mean, what were they up 24-3 or something like that? I mean, how do you not cover
Bradley,
that game?
Who's the D coordinator? Gus Bradley is the D coordinator over there in San Diego, right? And he was great in Seattle when they won that Super Bowl, right? And then he went down to Jacksonville. But Gus Bradley is, he must not have a pulse on it. Anthony Lynn, he's also a defensive coach, is he not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's why I'm like, how?
Yeah, they should have. They should have it so that they're holding those leads pretty strong.
Yeah. So I mean, right now, Pittsburgh, they pulled that game out at Baltimore, so they're looking. I mean, Kansas City did what Kansas City does. I think they were sleeping there for a little bit in the early part of that game. So, but they pulled away eventually. Pittsburgh wins again, big game at Baltimore. Tampa Bay is playing tonight, but man, those three teams right there. Green Bay showed some weakness again on stopping the run yesterday. So, that I don't know that they're as good as they look. So I think this thing's wide open, but right now finding a team that's going to beat Tampa Bay in the NFC for me is hard. I mean, Seattle is 6-1, but that's a Houdini 6-1. They keep
it is.
Playing, and the NFC West is, they say, the toughest division. But I'm looking at all the teams. Seattle on the defensive side of the ball, they just can't stop. I had the over in that game, and how the first half and even into the third quarter, I'm like, this is a dead bet. There's no way. And then that ends up like 37-27. So they get to the over there. Arizona, they're playing okay on the defensive side. I still have questions about Murray. And the offense. I mean, I know that they've scored 30 the last 3 games, but are they a 5-2 team? I mean, that's what their record says. And the Rams they look like world beaters one week, and then they look like they're an 0-5 team the next week. So they're a Jekyll and Hyde team. And then San Francisco, who I think actually is the best team in the NFC West, they just can't get healthy. They're just beat up. They can't go out. They can't make any trades. They're strapped cash wise. So they just got to get healthy. They got to hold on until they get healthy. If they can and they can get into the playoffs somewhat healthy, then maybe they've got a shot. But right now, it just looks like it's Tampa Bay. And unless something happens to Brady or something happens to that, big injuries or anything, I like Tampa Bay in the NFC. And right now, I don't know how you go against KC and the AFC. So as of the midpoint, that's what I'm calling Tampa Bay and Kansas City in the Super Bowl as of right now.
Well, let me take a step back. We'll go to the championship game. Are we looking at Pittsburgh, KC, and Tampa, Green Bay in the championship games, possibly, which would be a great championship weekend if we do get that. So that's what it looks like right now for me. Is it smoke and mirrors for Green Bay? Yeah, I think they're weaker than we see. I think Seattle is definitely looking forward here. Seattle's heading into Buffalo. I think Buffalo takes Seattle out this week. Buffalo seemed to stabilize them yesterday. They weathered the storm. They lost a couple of games, but they're in there, and they're a tough-minded team. Buffalo is a tough-minded team, kind of like Miami. Miami's tough-minded. So Seattle, they're front runners. If something happens, if Russell Wilson doesn't pull Houdini out, they go down. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't pull Houdini, they go down. So, but again, I think Buffalo might win this week. I'll take a close look at that. That might be one of my plays later in the week. But yeah, that's all I got for that. As far as college football, you said you're not going to bet. You might just do live betting. Look, it's just, we talked about this during basketball season, I think last year. Sometimes numbers look firmer. Sometimes numbers look stronger. And sometimes you get fooled. You just look at numbers and you're fooled by what they look like. And that's just all it is. And that's what one of these weeks was. That's what this last weekend was for me anyway. That's the way I saw it. I went back and reviewed it. That Temple-Tulane game, I looked at it. I was like, oh, that's what I missed. So it was one of those things. West Virginia and K-State, I didn't double look at that. I didn't play that one myself. West Virginia, that line moved up to 5.5 before game time to start.
That's another game that moved. Yeah, that was another game. And and the K-State just I watched them play one game. I think I watched them play Oklahoma. And West Virginia just moved the ball at will. They couldn't stop them. They couldn't do anything on offense. I mean, they just looked like a completely different team in college. And, Ohio State looks like, they're legit. Clemson, they struggled against Boston College without Lawrence. And they're saying that. And they said Lawrence is going to be out this week against Notre Dame. He's not playing. So, and then we got the Pac-12 starting up this weekend, and for me, I'm an ASU fan. I mean, they right out of the chute, it's ASU and USC. So, and they're playing, this is scheduling. I didn't see this, but they're playing at 9:00 Pacific time in the morning. They're playing early. So that's new. That's new for these Pac-12 teams. And I don't know if they're doing that maybe to get some exposure or why they're playing that early, but 9:00 games on the West Coast. That's going to be interesting to see how the Pac-12 handles this. And it's just
what are your thoughts on the Pac-12 before we roll out of here? What do you think? Who's going to win? Where you at?
Yeah, in the South, I think you got three teams that are going to be decent: USC, ASU, and Utah. I think those three teams are, probably going to come out of the South. And then, in the North, you got Oregon and Washington. I mean, Washington lost a lot, but they usually reload, and Oregon's always reloading. So, Oregon's probably going to be the favorite in the North. This, Herm Edwards has got this team. I mean, his recruit, the talent that he has at ASU right now is the best talent ASU's ever had.
Wow,
ever.
Okay. That's
so
a bold statement.
And I'm talking like recruiting.
Erickson's better than Dennis Erickson had.
Oh yeah. This team. I mean, Jaden Daniels is he's a legit quarterback. They did lose Ayuk. He's in the pros, and they did lose Eno Benjamin. So, but they're just bringing in new guys that were producing last year, and this defense is supposed to be really good. Of course, you got to put it together on the field. You can't just recruit and play the game on paper. They've got to go out and they've got to, produce. Right. But talent wise right now, this ASU team is just, that's why I'm hoping that all, the sports and college basketball happen, because, in college basketball, ASU is supposed to be, they're going to be the favorites in the Pac-12 this year. They're loaded. Bobby Hurley's got that team. He's got 2 5-star freshmen coming in this year, and he's got a good core of senior guys with Remy and, Alonzo Verge. So I can't wait for college basketball. But in the Pac, I'm rooting for ASU, but at USC's, they're always talent, heavy. So we'll see what happens there. But right out of the chute, ASU, USC. I haven't seen the line yet, but I'm sure USC is going to be favored probably between 4 and 7. I would assume in that game.
You're going to make a play on ASU in that game?
No, I'm probably not going to play any Pac-12 teams. I just the Big Ten's a perfect example for me, because we have 1 week to, kind of see what everybody looks like. Michigan looks like, world beaters. They go in to play Michigan State. Michigan State looked horrible the week before. They come in, they lose to Rutgers. But then they come in and beat Michigan at Michigan. Yeah. Minnesota beat, who did Minnesota beat? Minnesota beat, Minnesota lost to Maryland. Tua's brother, Tua's younger brother. Yeah. The younger Tunga Bailoa, he looked really good for Maryland. So I'm probably just going to watch the Pac-12 this week. I don't have a feel at all. I'm just going to root for ASU and hope they win.
Very good. Yeah, I can't bet on any team that hasn't at least played one game, hasn't played a down of football, especially under these circumstances. So, but awesome. Okay, very good. Great podcast Monday morning. Just shooting the shit, basically. And we'll watch this game tonight, see what happens. Come back on Wednesday for episode number 9. Before we roll out, let's go with the social medias and the outro. What do we got, Scott? How can
All right, so once again, YouTube, Legit Betting Edge Podcast, that page is up. It is ready to go. So if you guys get this, retweet it for us, pass it along, go to the channel, subscribe. You can find me on Twitter at ScojoAZSports. Instagram is ScojoPicks, and my website is ScojoPicks.com. That's where you can find me and how you can get a hold of me.
You can find me at @my_bankroll on Twitter. If you're on YouTube watching this, smash the like button for us. We would appreciate that. Going to try to get the social media etiquette right so that we can kind of get this thing going and just build it. But We don't have it down yet, and we're counting on you to help us build it. We appreciate that. That's the end of the episode number 8, and we'll see you on Wednesday.